feel like most of the tests are gonna be online too. Like you can look up the answers online.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm doing.
Yo, when I saw that email, I was so happy.
I was like, yeah.
Because
I was in class.
I didn't know how I was gonna study for that test.
Wait, what?
The test is online.
The test
It's not in
is online.
class.
Yeah. So you're looking up the answers online?
Yeah, most answers are online.
You guys are like Quizlet.
Yeah.
Where would you even look for this? Like Google it?
A lot of the management classes test on Quizlet.
I like to ask Jeeves when he was around. I like to ask the Jeeves.
Okay.
I know we have a set of questions, right?
Yeah. All right. What prior work experience do you have?
Prior to what I'm doing now, you're saying?
You were
Yeah.
creating
Nothing. It's the only
Yeah.
place I've ever worked.
Oh, video.
Yeah, I've been there 40 years. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right out of school.
Wait,
I work for AD Makepeace, a big cranberry company that we're actually a real estate and sand and gravel operation also now. But when I started there, they were just strictly cranberries. So I actually managed the cranberry operation. So I've been in charge of this. Been involved with it since '76. So
Wow.
I've worked my way up over the years. As a general manager. This past year, they gave me that title actually January 1st. So
Congratulations.
no, thank you.
Do you see yourself continuing to look to, have a more,
You want to have a higher position?
yeah,
say?
do you want to have a higher job, or you?
Probably not. This is about as far as I'd want to go, just
Okay.
because I enjoy it.
Mm.
I think if I get outside of this, I'm not going to enjoy myself, because it becomes a lot more meetings involved. I like being out in the field and hands-on and doing the manager part at the same time. It's probably like 50-50. If I lost that hands-on part of it, I think I'd be bored just doing that all paperwork and meetings and scheduling or whatever it is. So,
All right. So the positions you've held, foreman and manager?
yeah, I started as just a regular bog technician, they called him back then, as a regular laborer. Then I became a foreman in 1980. Then I became that's what they called me in 1994. They made a new title. Supervisor. What they did is they broke the company up into 4 parts. It used to be run as just one whole company, then they broke it into 4 sections. And that was 1990.
Based on region?
Yep, they gave me like 500-acre plots. We have 2,000 acres, so I managed 500. Another guy did, so they gave me a supervisor position in 1994. Then in 2000, that was when the cranberry crunch happened. The cranberry prices went right down the tubes. A lot of guys got laid off and quit. So they asked me if I'd run the operation until we kind of got back on our feet again. So I did that in 1999 till about 2007-8. Then we became more serious about growing cranberries again, and that's when I started moving up in the company. I was named assistant manager of the whole company, and now I'm the general manager with 3 assistants under me. So I've had like 4 different steps getting to the position I'm at now. So
Big bucks over here, big bucks.
better off starting with it though. If you can start with the big bucks instead of waiting till you're my age. But
Do you believe that you need a degree to work this job?
yeah, chemistry degree would have helped. If I knew I was going to be in this position, I would have definitely worked on chemistry a lot harder.
Yeah.
Back in the school days. Unfortunately, I was kind of like you. I coached it through school, did what I had to do to get through it, and I never thought I was going to the telephone company right out of school. And this cranberry company my father worked for offered me a position because they liked my father's work ethic and all that, so they figured maybe I was going to bring that with me. So they moved him to a different position, and that's how I became foreman. I worked a couple years. They liked what they saw and offered me a full-time position right off the bat. So instead of going to the telephone company, I took this.
What school did you go to?
Old Rochester. I just went to high school and that was it. So I said I actually had a good job right out of high school, going right to the telephone company, which was a great job back then. That was where everybody wanted to go, the telephone company back then. A lot of people, it's like the post office, telephone company was the. So I'm like, I'm not going to further my education. I'm just going to go right to the telephone company and move my way up there, and never even ended up there.
So honestly, I'm in school for management,
Yep.
trying to learn how to be a better manager.
Yep.
So do you think that you had classes in high school, or like you?
Oh no, I've taken a lot of courses since,
Okay.
outside of school for managing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how to work better with people and handling disgruntled employees. All those different courses they offer. I
Okay.
continue to do that every year to year. Whatever courses I can improve myself in, I take those. Yep.
And you do those online or?
No, go right to a class, yep. My
Okay.
company backs us all up with any of that education,
Oh,
anything.
really?
Yeah.
That's good.
BCC or something?
No, it's usually just like, they'll hold it at like, say, a hotel room, they'll have a big, like, conference, and like 20, 30 managers will show up and give you a 2-3 day course, something similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't taken any courses like in school, it's just a 1 day, 2 day thing, like I say, just out,
Okay.
off.
So it's training?
Yeah, more,
Mm.
yeah, more just training, yep.
Do you think you go back to school for like a higher, like a school education structure?
No, I don't think I would. Not that I say I shouldn't, but I think the field I'm in, chemistry is the only part, and I actually learned a lot from his father works with me actually, you know, the cranberry bogs, and I learned a lot from him and a lot of, we have a chemist on site now that we didn't have years ago, so I'm learning a lot in-house. So I don't think I would need to go to school. I'm 53, I'm gonna work 10 more years, so I probably, you know,
Yeah.
how much more am I gonna,
What do you look for most in hiring people?
what I look for is, it's funny when I interview people, I kind of, I kind of feel the person out, I'll ask them their hobbies and just off the wall stuff to kind of see what kind of person they are but a good attitude is what I look for. Someone that's good work ethic, obviously. I mean, that's hard to know ahead of when you're doing you know, presenting someone trying to meet them at work. But I look for a good attitude, and like I say, that's the main thing I look for. See how they react. I have a lot of list of questions I'll ask them and how they respond to them. I kind of gauge off of that.
So in the interview, right?
Yep.
Or when they come in for the interview, do you want just a resume or a cover letter? Because I literally just came from a class where I took notes on
Yep.
like interviews and like the whole interview process. So do you like a cover letter or?
I prefer just a resume, but
Okay.
yeah, that's all I spend any time on.
And do you feel that body language really affects your perception of that person?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep.
That's how you probably get the good attitude.
Right, you can, yeah, tell if they're kind of calm, easy going. I don't want someone that blows their top working for me, you know. So you can kind of get that with their body language at times. And if they think they kind of know it all already, because I have a lot of people that come from and been in the industry, so they'll come to me and want to join our company, and I'll ask them, what do you have to offer? And I've done everything. Oh, you ain't gonna worry about me. And
That brings
See, I
up
don't-
another question, right?
right.
So, do you hire employees or look for employees that already have prior experience in the field?
Depending on what their experience is, in some cases, I'd rather teach them the way we do things, because
Okay.
every industry does things a little different. And like I say, sometimes you'll get a guy that thinks he knows it all, want to come into your place, you're like, no, that we do things a little different, that's not the way we did it. So like I say, a combination of both is not know too much,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But like I say, I have
learning.
if there's something I want, if I'm looking for a manager position, obviously I'd rather have experience. If I'm looking for just a regular laborer, or, I'd say the experience don't really matter at all, at least with our job.
Is the hiring process in your company typically long? Like how long does it usually last? The
Like,
process
see-
of hiring someone new?
How long is the process?
Yeah.
Usually the time you do the background check, the interviews, then if you're, it depends if you're doing 4 to 6 interviews, we'll usually do for a position, usually about a month, but the whole process takes, If we have someone come through the woodwork we know that's good, it's in the industry, and we have an opening, we kind of make that happen pretty quick before someone else snags them, because it's a real small industry, so there's some real good people, and there's people you don't want anything to do with, so once in a while you'll have one that just quit somewhere and come through the door, and I'd like to work for you guys, and obviously you do the interview and all that, but you kind of get your mind made up ahead of time when you know someone like that's real good in the industry already, so.
So in the interview process, are there like key words you want to hear? And what are those?
Keywords?
Like you'd want to hear
Yeah.
like, I'm ambitious, like you want, as soon as you hear ambitious, like.
Right, yeah, I'm trying to think about, what keywords, key phrases, thinking like, I'm very easy to work with. Yeah, punctuality is very important. I'd like to hear someone say that one of their keys is being on time in a job. I don't like someone that's late all the time. someone that cares about what they're doing the job right. So Karen, I guess, would be, key word. I haven't done one in a while, that's why I have to think a little bit in the interview, so I'm trying to think back, but what else would be the key words? Say motivated. One thing I really look for is someone, especially if it's someone that hasn't been in the industry much, I like someone coming to me and say, I'd love to grow in this company, what do I gotta do?
They have a future.
Right, what's my future here, what can I do to be where you're at in, say, 20 years or 10 years, whatever it is. So I like to hear that from someone, you're like, geez, this guy is motivated and just doesn't want to come here and work 2 years and disappear. So I like hearing that question asked.
Have you ever fired anybody?
Yep.
How's that feel?
I don't like doing it. Unfortunately, it's necessary at times. But yeah, it bothers you. The night before, you got to think about it and word everything right. And I mean, back in the day when I started, you could just fire somebody on the spot. Now it's a paper trail, and see you. So back in the day, yeah, you suck, get out of here. Those days are gone. So, but yeah, like I say, it's a big paper trail. But yeah, you never like doing it. That's for sure. Like I say, the night before, I think about it all night, and because it's going to affect their future, the family, and yeah. But I'm very fair as far as working with employees. I know we do evaluations every year, and I'm very truthful on them because it's key to the employee. I don't want to tell the employee give them a great evaluation 6 months from now, and you're not doing a very good job. So I'm very upfront with those, and I find them important. The evaluations, get your point across, let them air out some maybe some things that they don't like, and so I really put a lot of effort in the evaluations, and I find it comes back to work well. I very seldom have to fire anybody I've hired. It's usually people that have come on board, been with the company before I had anything to do with them. I have had to fire people I've hired, which you feel bad about because you brought them to the company and they turned out to be a flop. You're like, I made a bad decision, but so.
Have you ever, has there been anyone that's been close to firing and then has turned around more or less? And have you done that through positive reinforcement, like telling them, oh, good job on this, good job on that?
It's funny, I'm trying to think if there's an exception, but most guys, once they hit that point of almost getting fired, they usually don't come back. I've had 3 or 4 of them. We just had one actually resign. He had his second bad evaluation, and he actually a week later, I said, you gotta pick it up or I'm actually gonna write you up we're gonna do a 3-month follow-up. I'm gonna write you up if you haven't improved. A week later, he resigned. But yeah, most people don't bounce back if they've gone that other way. Usually there's an issue in their life. Unfortunately, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's divorce, unfortunately. So I'm trying to think if there is anybody we've brought back. I mean, I try like hell, because I say I hate firing somebody. But you gotta do the good of the company at times. Yeah, probably not. Like I say, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they're probably, once they hit that point, they seem to just don't come back. At least in our field.
All right, what are your top 3 ways to effectively manage people?
Effectively, I find making the person feel important about their job. I find that key. Letting them know they're a very key part of the company. Like say when I do the evaluation, I always say, hey, we hit our numbers this year. You guys are a huge part of that process and getting, helping us hit our numbers. So making them feel as part of the team, I find that very important. I find that I've had managers in the past that they kind of think they're the team. Now, who wants to work for a guy like that? You don't feel like you're part of that team. So like I say, making them feel important, part of the team. What was the question? The 3 effective ways.
Yeah.
Third one, like I say, and I in my company, it's very important. Safety is very important. So if I preach safety all the time, I find that the guys like hearing that, and they say, oh, this guy really cares about me. The company cares about me. So I find that very important that the employee feels safe working there, and so I find that very important. I say that I always have. Whenever I start a meeting, it's always safety's first, all the stuff that goes with safety, so I seem to get a good response from that. And one thing that's a no-no, I tell my new managers, if you talk about employees to other people, that comes back negative most of the time. Number one, it's not good to talk about somebody else, if you complain about them or whatever. and it gets back to that person, it's usually mixed up by then, it's not what you
Yeah.
really said, so I find that very important, and I tell them I help. You got a problem with me, I wanna know it, if I got one with you, face to face, we're done. And I've never had a problem with employee, you know, with me talking or one talking about me, I've never heard anything negative about me at all, so I think it works great that way, find it important, yeah. So like I say, being very truthful and direct and, yeah, transparent, very important, yep.
Okay. How do you decide who works with who?
You kind of feel that out. It's funny, I kind of evaluate my team as I got like 30 guys that I work full-time with, and we have about 60 part-time employees, 9 months, but the 30 full-timers are the base. And it's almost like a baseball team. You put a group together at the end of the year and pair these people up, and at the end of the year, you really evaluate it like, these two didn't work out very good together. So you kind of look at their interest. Sometimes I'll look at, all right, this guy likes hunting and this guy likes hunting. They're probably gonna work well together. So you look at maybe what their interests are, their attitudes. Some guys are 100 miles an hour, some guys, let's do the job right and safe, where other guys, like I said, go 100 miles an hour, probably not doing it safe. So I won't pair up a guy that wants to be safe with a guy like that, because that guy's gonna be uncomfortable, and that guy's, he's too slow. So I kind of, look at a lot of their work habits, their personal life a little bit, so.
When you conduct an interview, do you like to ask questions that are open-ended and they have time to really retort, or do you ask closed-ended questions, which are basically yes or no?
I do both.
You ask questions like, do you like this, yes or no, and they don't have any really basic.
Yeah, I'll do that to see what kind of quick responses I'll get versus open-ended questions where they can think about it. Just I think throwing both at them is kind of so you can feel a person out, how they respond to a quicker question or something open-ended. So I'll do probably 50% of both, I would say. That's kind of what I do on an interview, yeah.
How do you decide what is needed for inventory?
We do most of our ordering in our industry in the winter, of course, and be ready for the spring. Our main season's pretty much mid-March to mid-November is when we finish up our harvest. So we keep track of our inventory, so we'll just gear up and make sure we have all the supplies over the winter and be ready in March, middle March, to just truck pretty much, as far as not having to chase any inventory, except for the machine shop will have to chase parts and stuff. But as far as like the fertilizer, the chemicals that we use, the fungicides, which are chemicals, having all these safety equipment on board. We're actually having a safety meeting Friday to make sure we have everything in-house we need for that. So we kind of gear up, like I say, from end of November to now, and make sure we have everything in place so nothing kind of gets in our way and stops us. So.
Okay. How is it all managed?
I manage all the inventory on the cranberry end of it, and we have a mechanic that does all the machine shop and things, keeping all the pumps rolling and all that. We have a whole separate unit division that does all our pumps, and we have like 125 irrigation pumps, 75 trucks, so that's a whole different division. I don't manage that part of it, so I manage all the resources in the cranberry, and with some help with guys doing it, helping me out with it, but I'm responsible for having it in place. We actually started renting some of that out a little bit now, because it is so time consuming to Craig Cannon over at Charlotte Furnace Road. He's got his new building now. So I'm doing a little more of that in-house, out of the house, because it's tractor trailer driver has to drop all the fertilizer off, so I got his company doing it, just so it's easier for him to do the inventory, because we're trying to get all this material put out. We're called a helicopter. I need 100 bags of this put on in 5 different locations, and the other manager might be scheduling the same fertilizer, so we might run out of that particular fertilizer. So I found having it outside that company it's worked out easier. We've done it for a year now, and it's worked out great so far. So we're starting to transition some of that.
Do you like to look for the best price and, like, let's say fertilizer? Do you like to look for the best price on fertilizer, or stay with the same company?
Oh yeah, we
always get there.
We do a lot of research.
Okay.
We make different blends all the time, so we'll put out 2 or 3 different bids. Because we're also looking for a good product. Because you can buy cheap fertilizer, but it has filler in it and all the stuff that's kind of useless. So we want 100% fertilizer when we get it. So, Dave, his father works with us. He draws up what we need for fertilizer, sends it out to, like, say, 2-3 different places, and they'll send us back a bid. We want 150 ton of this. This is the price. We'll deliver it, and so we'll use different vendors. We have 2 or 3 main ones we work with. Of course, there isn't a lot to select from in the
Okay.
fertilizer industry, but the quality is definitely important with fertilizer also, so. Someone that doesn't understand fertilizer, like I didn't years ago, you just, oh, that's the best price, I'll take it. But once you really understood what was in that fertilizer, all this time I'm flying out junk. You pay so much a pound to fly the fertilizer, so why do you want to fly something that's not doing you any good? So as you understand it, then you're like, oh, okay. So,
What happens with the leftover inventory?
that stays right in the storage building over at Craig's now.
Yeah, just
Yep.
gets used next year?
Yep, correct, yep. So as we plan for the new year, we'll obviously have our inventory list, okay, we only need 60 ton of this year, we got a little bit left over, and so we always order extra, because we're such a big company that nobody's gonna supply us in a minute, so that's why we have to plan way ahead as big as we are, so.
Mhm.
So we
How
use
far
ships.
ahead would you say you plan? Like
About 3 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
3 months.
like I said, I plan in pretty much from November to March, making sure we have everything in place for this coming year. And I said, if we ran out of a particular product, I'm sure we can get a little bit, but we don't wanna be looking for 100 ton of fertilizer last minute, because it just isn't gonna happen, so. But you get better prices if you pre-order,
Yeah.
and sometimes the gas prices make a big difference in fertilizer prices. So sometimes we'll actually watch the gas prices and it's like, oh, let's order now. And our fertilizer vendors will tell us that also, hey, you might wanna wait 1 week or wait a month, or you might wanna do it right today, because I see something going on here and something could be an overseas affecting the price, or,
Overseas, that's a good point. What's the word? Do you ever try and branch out, like outside of the country, and get your fertilizer from, I don't know what country makes great fertilizer?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I've never, because the shipping.
Outsourcing.
Yeah, the shipping would be the problem. Like right now, we have it shipped on rail carts, comes on train, so you can save a lot of money shipping it that way. So if you get overseas, it'd be the shipping issue would be the problem there, of course.
Okay.
Ours comes out of, I think it's North Carolina right now, so let's say, I'll tell them in December roughly what we want, and it's just coming right now, actually. I started getting delivered the other day, so, and I ordered it back in December, so it takes a while to get it. Especially the amounts we need, 350 ton we order, I think, altogether. So it's a lot of bags, 50-pound bags, so you can do the math on that, it's quite a few bags.
What other countries can you see yourself branching into? Like your.
Well, the cranberry product itself, we sell to Ocean Spray all our cranberries, and because that's a co-op, and we tell them ideas that we have as a co-op, the guys that are running Ocean Spray, and right now they are doing a lot of overseas with cranberry products.
Where overseas?
Cranberry great, though. Cranberry great. Good stuff.
All the countries are covering right now. China's really picked up. Brazil is a big one that's really picked up. They actually building cranberry bog in Chile. Actually, my boss went there 2 years ago, and we were looking at maybe expanding there ourselves, my company, just with the cranberry bogs, but they decided not to. But so yeah, just most of the countries are buying the juice. There's an abundance of cranberries right now. They've come out with a lot of hybrids and bogs that used to grow 200 pounds the acre are growing 400 pounds the acre now. So there's a lot more cranberries coming into the mix. So they're trying to just use them up. So they're tapping the overseas market as much as they can and making a lot of new products.
Do you think it's relatively new to like go overseas? So do you see an increase in sales?
Yeah, it should be a good increase in some of these they haven't tapped, yeah. Yeah, they're doing real well. China alone, they doubled their production of what they sold in 1 day this year. They have a big day out there similar to our Black Friday. I forgot what they called it, but that day alone, they were hoping to sell about $100,000 worth of juice and craisins and sauce, whatever. They sold 500,000 in 1 day. And the year before, they only sold 250,000 the whole year. So the China market, like I say, really took a good jump last year. So the overseas market, yeah, definitely where we're trying to push the extra product. Ocean Spray is. Yeah, they have a crew of people that just stay in these countries and work there. They have probably a dozen guys that come to the Ocean. I went to an Ocean Spray meeting in Florida 2 weeks ago, and all of them come up and present what they're doing in each country, and it's really interesting. Yeah, yeah.
I thought you said you're not trying to outsource though. Do you grow it over there, or do you?
No,
send it over there?
we just sell. Ocean Spray sells the product. Like I say, all our cranberries just go right to Ocean Spray, then they do what they do with them. And so we get involved with those meetings because, like I say, it's a co-op, so the cranberry growers own the Ocean Spray, So those people are working for us, so we'll go to these meetings, listen, and we might have, hey, have you tried this yet? Or, you know, tried this product, have you hit this country yet? Or, see, if you just throw out ideas to, you know, get them thinking.
Do you try and do, not demos, like, whenever I go to the mall, there's always those Chinese places.
Samples?
Yeah.
Samples.
Right, they're doing a lot more of that, yeah,
You sample?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're finding that's working fantastic, yeah. Especially a lot of new products. I say they got like a dozen new products coming out every year, the last couple of years, so they're just trying to make those cranberries disappear. Use them up.
How is the budget managed?
I manage that, the cranberry end of it also, yep. Yeah, I have an overall budget. What I do is present it to the CEO. He'll shoot holes in it. I think you could spend a little less here, maybe you cut yourself short there. So we'll go over the budget together and then I'll fudge it one more time, present it again, and then he okays the CEO, then it goes to a board of directors. They'll overlook it real quick, and that's pretty much it. Then they'll hit you. It's funny, we do our budget, we finalize it in November. I've already been asked in February, can you cut about $250,000 off your budget? So it's something to get used to for your manager, because they're always looking at the bottom line. So, yeah, 3 months later, can you cut this $250,000? Oh, I'll try. But cranberry, it's tough to budget cranberries because you're working with Mother Nature. You're always working around Mother Nature. You can get a heavy rainstorm, a hailstorm, and be all done. I mean, we have insurance for that, but.
Do you feel like weather like really affects
Oh
you?
yeah, 75% of what you do, and probably the other 25% is what you know, I would say. That's always kind of because, yeah, I mean, Mother Nature deals you a bad hand, there ain't much you can do about it. Say for example, we bring bees in for pollination. Say you get 2 weeks of cloudy, rainy, nasty weather, the bees don't fly, your crop's gonna go right down the tubes, you're not gonna get no pollination. So at the certain times of year, you can really lose out.
And is there some form of insurance?
Yeah, we carry out insurance on it all, yeah. Yeah, if you get hurt by a hailstorm or a flood, or we carry all types of insurance for that, yep. Because it happens about once every 10 years, you'll get something out of the ordinary that'll hurt the crop quite a bit.
What happens if you go over budget?
My bonus won't be as good. No, what I'll do is, as you go through the season, you see something going on that this year's not a good year for quality. I'll go to my boss, hey Mike, I'm gonna have to throw in probably another 1 fungicide right across the board, or maybe 2. I'm gonna be over budget on fungicide. And if there's a real good reason for it, they have no problem with it. So they know you're dealing with Mother Nature. So as long as you tell them up front with it, and don't surprise them at the end of the year, you're way over, and what the hell happened? Just keep them informed as you go along, and that's how we handle it well. So, and we'll try to diversify something. All right, I'll try not to spend as much over here right now, because I know I'm gonna have to spend more over here, so you'll try to compensate for it, but.
So you would say when trying to plan the budget, you kind of look at the weather conditions from previous
Yeah, that's all you can
years,
really
so
do. I mean,
now it didn't snow that much this year, so.
Right.
Okay.
So
When you
yeah,
determine that, right, do you follow trends or like
pretty much trends,
over
yeah.
the years?
Yeah, you're trying to look at a 5-year trend, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Because every year can be pretty different. They look at last winter compared to this year, it's like night and day. Which the snow actually is good for the cranberry crop. They love it.
See,
It
but
protects
if
them.
you're following a trend, then you just assume this winter would have been bad.
Right.
If you're following statistics over the years, like the last 50 years, you wouldn't think it was
Right.
really that bad.
Right. Yeah, we figured up front it wouldn't be as bad as last year. And it's funny, the Farmer's Almanac, we'll kind of listen to that and look at it a little bit. And they were saying it's gonna be another winter just like last year, early in the season. Then the wind, that El Nino changed. I guess the wind direction changed, and they said, oh, it's gonna be a mild, wet winter. So going into the winter, that's what they were predicting. But way before that, they were predicting a heavy snow just like last year. I'm like, oh, not a bad thing for cranberries, but I don't like snow, but but it is. We have great crops, and we've got a lot of snow for some reason. Well, for a few reasons, but.
Have you ever had any conflicts between employees or coworkers?
Amongst themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never fun. Because you bring them in, you get both sides of the story, and because both sides never match when you get them both together. And yeah, we try. When I see a problem festering, that's my main goal. Is I always try to stop any problems I see right up front, so they don't get a chance to fester. So, but we don't.